Hi, Jane.
Hi.
Welcome to this new episode of The Outstanding Vegan. Today I'm with Jane from here in South Africa, but Jane, you're not from South Africa.
No.
I'll let you present yourself. How would you present yourself?
Oh, it's very hard. So my name is Jane Nshuti. I was born in Rwanda and I grew up between South Africa and Kenya. And currently I'm residing in Cape Town, South Africa.
Since how long now you're staying here?
So, wow, it's been a long time, probably 2000.
Okay, since 2000.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's been a very long time.
And it's been quite a journey. So, Jane, you're a chef, but you're also an entrepreneur.
Yes.
And it's been quite a journey for you. You told me that this year was super busy. And if you work one day more, it would be...
collapse.
You would just collapse. We actually only met twice,
Yes.
quite briefly. First was for a veganery event, then the other time was for Christmas feast that you organized.
Yes.
Tell me about the Christmas feast. Is all part of what you're doing?
So I am not just a chef, I am a plant-based African chef. And I started it because I felt a need of putting African food on the map, but not just African food, but plant-based African food. Mainly because African food has gotten a bad rap for so long. And when you talk about African food, plant-based meals does not come into mind. And so I started my business mainly because I wanted to tell people, okay, I don't know how long you've been vegan, but when I became vegan about over 15 years ago, people will be like, you're black, how can you be vegan? There is that thing that the minute that you adapt a plant-based lifestyle, you are trying to be white.
Yes, it's something I really hear often.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then the more I did research, I was like, hold on, our ancestors were actually mainly vegan. They literally only ate meat on special occasions or during ceremonies.
Mm-hmm.
Every other day, they actually lived on the land. And I'm like, how come we were not told this?
And when does the meat on a daily basis appears also?
Yes, exactly. So then part of what I do is very educational.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do, it's not like a normal restaurant. It's really events focused. It's about teaching people how to actually cook African food, get people familiar with African ingredients. Because unfortunately, colonization has made Africa seem like anything African is very backwards or
Yes, it's true.
it's unsophisticated, or so we have a lot of ingredients which are amazing nutritional wise, but we don't use
Because it seems to be something that we should not use anymore. Like,
it's too
why use?
backwards. It's for poor people. Meanwhile, it's rich in nutrients. So I have been trying to bring those back and encouraging people who are not even from this continent to start adapting this type of ingredients into their cooking. So that's what I've been doing mostly. And then one of the things, so I am one of the few pioneers who are doing African plant-based cooking, and I couldn't possibly start a business like an Italian will start a restaurant because everyone knows what a pizza is.
Yes, you had to start kind of from scratch.
Yes.
So it's not just starting a restaurant or any food business, it's also educating on what food I'm making and raise the interest around that.
So that's why the feasts are so good, because they come here, I tell them, this is what you're eating, this is where it comes from, this is why you eat it. And then it becomes familiar. hopefully in the future, people will actually want to come looking for a goosey the way they're looking for pizza.
Okay. So it's also, this is what I really like during the feast. There's way much more connection. Is that one of the things that you wanted to bring?
Yes.
And the way you want to bring food, more connection, coming to the table?
Yes, because that is really, food is fellowship. And food connects you with people, either those who made it or those ones around you. That's why we sit the way we sit. You get to meet new people. And I also encourage people, don't use forks, don't use spoons, use your hands. That's why we provide water at the door for people to wash their hands, because that is all part of an African food fellowship
Culture, absolutely. There's a big notion of having a fly annoying me. We had a pigeon just before. We're recording right here when you had your feast. Beautiful room, and we just had a pigeon trap inside the room, and like for half an hour, just try to get it out. This is why I'm sweating and the fly is coming at me. It's just like, okay, guys, what have you done?
We want to be part of this vegan movement.
Absolutely. So what's the name of your brand?
It's very interesting how Tamu by Jane came about.
Yes.
Because when I started the business, I didn't have a name. I just started something which I thought was necessary. But then later on, I was like, you know what? Tamu is a Swahili word for delicious.
Okay.
It means delicious.
I was about to ask.
Yes. So I was like, okay, I want people to see my food as delicious as any other food that they like. And I'm bringing it to them. And I wanted to be the parcel in whatever I'm bringing, because I want them to see my face. I want them to know that there is somebody
behind it.
Behind it, who cares about them as well. And that's how I really just combined both my name.
Okay, Tamu by Jane.
Yes.
So it's together. It's not just, it's really interesting. Yeah. And so your story of veganism starts here in Cape Town, or even before? We have some roots in Rwanda.
For me, actually, it was a very religious thing initially. I was born in Seventh-day Adventist household.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how familiar you are with Seventh-day Adventists, but they believe in eating a plant-based diet.
Okay. Oh.
Yes.
I heard about it by a friend. I'm not that familiar with it.
Yeah. So, but even though we were not necessarily fully plant-based growing up, but I know we didn't eat a lot of seafood, we didn't eat pork, we didn't eat a lot of meaty thing. And then as I grew older, as we go to church, they're telling us about this amazing lifestyle of being vegan.
In church? Oh, that's beautiful.
So in church, how we should be vegan because it opens up your mind. And I was like, I like this. So and then I decided to initially go vegetarian.
Yes.
Cheese was a problem.
Because it was too good?
Yes, and then later I realized that I was even lactose intolerant. And so for me, it was never... I've met a lot of people who went vegan,
from a day to another?
Yes.
Yeah.
One day they wake up and they watch a documentary and...
It's like, it's done for me, I'm moving on.
It wasn't like that for me. And so then it started from church. I started adopting a plant-based lifestyle. Then after that, I started becoming more conscious. The thing about veganism, it does not leave you with just food. You start realizing everything else around you that needs your attention.
Yeah, you're more aware.
You become more aware because since you're not just eating, but you're eating with consciousness, everything else becomes clear around you. And so then I'm like, okay, I'm now vegan. What about all these African ingredients? What can I do with them? Then I started becoming more conscious about Africanism. That is a word. And the food my ancestors used to eat.
Yeah.
I started thinking about why it is that some things grow in certain areas of the world and not the other. Started understanding that the way our body works, where we originally comes from, actually, whatever grows there is what our body
can and is good for your body.
Yeah, it's good for your body. And then I'm like, so why are we eating a lot of imported things?
That's true.
When our ancestors' diet, and that's why many diseases come and all that, because we live what we're supposed to be eating. We adopt what other people are supposed to be eating.
Yeah.
And then you wonder why you think you're lactose intolerant. You wonder why you think you are gluten.
Because dairy example is, I grew up a part of my childhood in Cameroon, and I know that except from the Nestle powder milk that was imported, dairy never been like a part of the diet.
Yes.
It was not common to have like dairy in the diet.
Most of black people are actually lactose intolerant.
That's really interesting.
Actually, probably 90% of black people we are lactose intolerant.
Just because it's never been part of our diet.
It's not what our body requires.
Yes.
I'm not sure if even milk is required
for anyone. Except baby milk.
Same
yeah.
thing. Like if you look at most of African grains are gluten-free. There is a reason.
That's really... What are the main... and this is really interesting as well for me, I was really happy to come here for the feast, African Christmas feast. I haven't ate African foods since I turned vegan, so about 2 years ago, until I ate your food, for the reason that all the stew I grew up with,
They add meat into it.
Exactly, and that's the thing. I've made some recipes, and when I say I haven't ate, is like outside of my kitchen, because sometimes it's my inspiration too. But it's just like, there is always this out of meat and like, shrimps, fish, stuff like this. And like just reconnect with African food for me was really important. And especially coming back to the fact that there's a lot of leaf, roots.
Yes.
And these are the ones that give the taste and also so many nutrients.
Yeah. Like, for example, cassava leaves, it doesn't require all those things that they add into it. It already has a distinct taste and smell and flavor to it. Mm-hmm. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I totally see.
I never understand why we have to add fish, pork. You see what I mean?
And just example, palm oil is, it can be different, the red palm oil, and it's the smell of my childhood in Cameroon.
Exactly.
And it's already so strong.
It's already so strong. It's already so strong. And I also, I cook my cassava leaves with palm oil, red palm oil. And also that is another elephant in the room, because most people don't know. Most vegans are like, we don't want to deal with palm oil and so on. And they actually don't understand the politics behind the palm oil. What happened is that the palm oil they are busy fighting with has nothing to do with Africa.
Yes,
they're fighting the
South American.
The one which is it
Indonesia.
The one. Yeah. So they took a lot of palm trees from Africa, went to plant it somewhere else for their own reasons, for
their own food reasons,
for the industries and so on. And that is the problem, is that most people. And that's where they're using monkeys or people...
like deforestation.
Deforestation and all those things. But now, when you say palm oil,
it's red list, red flag.
We immediately put everything in.
Yeah.
Even the nutritional value of the palm oil
It's
the
forgotten,
red one,
yeah.
and the ones that they're talking about, it's different. They even look different.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, they look different. And so whenever I tell, and that's why whenever I talk about palm oil, I don't just say palm oil. I have
African palm oil. That's true.
Because most African palm oil, first of all, they're very locally sourced from very small
Plantation,
farmers
okay.
and so on. And it's actually not, I'm not sure if you have seen how palm oil is, the red palm oil.
Yeah.
It's not overly processed like.
It's really a simple process.
It's a very simple process. It's like the way we make date syrup.
I mean, that's the thing. It's made in, and this is why it's really interesting, is that I know in Cameroon it's made in the village. Like
Yes,
there is no
exactly.
need of such a big industry or anything.
No, exactly.
And how does that these ingredients that you wanted to see, that you discover, was that on a personal level, or you were already on your chef journey? I would love to know, like, how did you came to cook for people?
It was on a personal level. So I started making a lot of these foods at home. I started eating, I don't know, when I went vegan, just like everyone who is going vegan, we want to make smoothie bowls and rainbow salads. And, you know?
Yeah, I totally feel you. Yes, I know. It's like, I'm turning vegan, I'm getting healthy like never. I'm gonna eat the rainbow. I know, every day. Every day until you start to eat burger.
You like smoothie bowls with a lot of chia seeds and, you know, all those, superfoods, great, I'm there, you know. And then you realize that you are actually, what you're doing is unsustainable, and you're actually not convincing a lot of people, because what ends up happening, it ends up being extremely expensive, and then nobody else can, it's unrealistic for somebody else to even want to be vegan.
And it seems like so much of a change. People are just like, oh,
Exactly.
if I want to be vegan, I have to turn out everything I have right
I have
now.
to stop eating cassava leaves, goosey, you know, all those things. And for me, I wanted, especially diaspora mainly, because they're the ones who grew up, people from different parts of Africa, to be able to transition without having to change their lifestyle.
I understand. Yeah, it's really great, especially that in Africa and in Black community overseas, culture is so important.
Yes.
It's for a lot of people, culture is even, I would say, the only part of their identity they're sure about. So they could not see themselves stopping eating certain type of stew.
Exactly, because also remember, one of the reasons why Africans feel veganism is a white thing is because there is this thing about, oh, you eat rabbit food, you know, like,
Yes.
because you're always eating salads and you're always drinking smoothies and all those things. But that's not really what our diet is made of.
Yes.
So why are we telling people that in order to be vegan you must buy a tofu presser? You must, you see?
Yeah.
And that is the expensive part of being vegan. Do you know how much a tofu presser is?
I never had a tofu presser, and I surely never look on Amazon, but I guess it must be expensive.
If you want tofu, use books.
Yeah.
But we have got this thing about, if you want to be vegan, use all these things and eat beyond meat, eat all those things. But within Africa, Africa is the food basket of the world. You have to understand that there is actually a lot of food in Africa.
There's a lot of food.
And it's all planted. So why can't we use that food and make amazing recipes which will actually motivate people to go vegan.
Yeah.
Let's use sorghum to come up with salads instead of making people only eat sorghum as a porridge.
Yes.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, I totally understand. Yeah.
So I took it as a personal challenge to really try and get Black African, especially, into veganism.
Veganism. And you're just like, I'm going to do it.
And then I decided I'm not going to be using the word vegan as often also as most people do. Instead, I will use
Plant-based. Yeah.
Because the minute you say the word vegan,
it's label. It's label. Like there is a label around it.
You see.
Yeah.
So, but when you use the word plant-based, most people think, oh, healthy, you know. So I was like, I know exactly where I'm going with this, but let's do vegan.
Okay.
Plant-based.
Let's forget vegan for a moment. Let's say plant-based. Yeah,
yes.
absolutely.
Because remember, the most important part is to win people.
Yeah. Win people heart. I mean, your food do win people heart. Yeah, it does. I mean, Vanessa was here too, and she loved it. She enjoyed it even more than me because she stayed longer. So, yeah.
So, like, also, I will make things people are familiar with, but I also add like an African ingredients. For example, in the cheesecake, the tartness, I use the baobab. So I will always make sure that I'm basically using African ingredients because I feel people don't know what to do with them. If you ask people, if you give somebody fonio, like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Sure. So you want to transmit that. How do you, so with your business today, so you have this event that you do, you also give cooking class.
Cooking classes.
But what also do you do with Tamu by Jane?
I just finished writing a book.
Amazing.
So the book is really not like a typical recipe book. It's like a journey through Africa with recipes. Literally, we move from Rwanda, we go to Tanzania. It's a storybook. It's basically stories, food.
All plant-based. All the recipes are plant-based. That's really interesting. Do you help people also with this book reconnect with the past of the food that was more plant-based? Do you help explaining that also?
I do that a lot. I do that a lot, and I've done that especially in my book. And I have been doing a lot of talks in different spaces. I get invited to talk about African plant-based. Why is it important? Also because the reason why I'm also advocating for this is because it's hard to find African ingredients in commercial markets.
That's true. That is so true.
And we're in Africa.
This is. You just say it just hit my brain. It's like, this is actually crazy. That is so true. It's really hard. You find really common ingredients and actually a lot of European ingredients here.
Chances that I'll find Beyond Burger in a supermarket than I'll find just a bag of sorghum.
Crazy. And it's also interesting because all these ingredients you talk about, I mean, I'm familiarized with some of them, but a lot of them I don't know either. Even though I'm really interested to the cooking world, in my background, also African background, but still there's a lot of ingredients I know really.
Chances are the only time you ate teff was at an Ethiopia, was at Nigeria.
At Cameroon. Cameroon.
No, Nigeria. No, like the last time you ate teff, the grain, was injera. You've never used teff as a grain.
I can't even say teff, like the one we had for.
You see injera, the Ethiopian bread.
Okay. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So it's made from a grain called teff.
Okay.
Which grows in Ethiopia. It's gluten free. It's the smallest seed. I wish I wish I had.
You had some, yeah. I wish we could have like a
Yes.
I want to learn right now. You get me first year of learning.
Yes. So, but you will never really walk into a supermarket and find teff. And chances are, most people don't know what else to do with teff, except to go to an Ethiopian restaurant and eat injera.
Yeah.
But this is a whole grain. The way we have 1,000 products which use maize,
We could do the same.
we can do the same with sorghum, we can do the same with teff, we can do the same with fonio. All those are African ingredients, healthy, more than corn, gluten-free, superfoods, but we don't use them.
But it's not happening. That's really crazy. And so you really want, your aim is really to push these out. And this is a beautiful aim that you told me in an incubator this year.
So when I decided to do this, I left a job. So even
Leap of faith.
I left a job. So I became a chef later in life. I was like, initially before I went and started into the food business and so on, I studied public administration at university. Then I started working. I was working as a country manager for a company based in Taiwan, but I was based here. And afterwards, I'm like, no, I actually want to. It's not that the job was bad; it was great, but I had a bigger burden.
Okay.
And it was to really put African food on the map.
You felt it was the thing that you needed to do.
Yes.
You felt like a call.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You felt it was the right thing to.
Yeah.
You were good in your job, your situation, and but you already started to cook at this time.
I was already. People knew me.
Okay.
I was cooking, but I was not full time in it.
You were still holding your job. Yeah. What was what was the element that told you, okay, because you felt the call, but you could have choose to like mute it, kind of like a lot of people do. They feel the call that they could find a solution. They could be like, okay, I'm gonna start a business because I feel the need, but they're just like, oh, you know what? I'm not gonna do it. What is that element that told you, I really have to do it? It have to happen.
I think because I saw the responses I was getting with the little I was doing, I realized that I can actually have an impact.
Okay.
Like my business is literally a year old.
Okay.
And I cannot believe the amount of impact I have had so far. I've had so many people sit on these chairs who have never tasted any of the things that you had. Like, was it your first time to taste some of the stuff?
Yeah. So Vanessa is. No, it's fine. So Vanessa was here at the dinner.
Yes.
I mean at the Christmas, and was it your first time, baby?
Yeah, definitely. Like I never had those potatoes. I never had something like this before.
Did you have a brucey before?
No. I mean, basically everything tasted really new to me. Like what you said before, injera, like I had it quite often because I grew up with a lot of Ethiopian friends. And also things like you can find it quite often in Germany. I ate it in Berlin actually. Really good. And it's also often, like they often have a vegan option because you can add meat but you don't have to.
Yes, yeah. And that's the thing.
So the main thing, I cut for Courtney real quick, it's just, as Vanessa probably we don't hear what you say, I'm just going to recap in case, I don't know. So for Vanessa, it was the first time that she had most of the dish, most of the taste, and most of the people, for sure. I know that even the friends that we came with, for most of them, was the first, and myself included. Myself included.
Exactly. So for me, it was to tell people that there is more to food than just pizza and burgers, and there's so much more, and Africa definitely has it.
And that's really interesting what you say, because coming from Europe, so we're in London. Before that, we realized there were a lot of junk food options, healthy one, of course, too. Back in Berlin, we had a lot of junk food, but also more healthy. And I feel like Asian culture have a huge impact in the plant-based world, especially when it comes to the kitchen. And I was surprised arriving here to don't find, it's my first time in South Africa, I was surprised to not see that much African impact on the
African continent.
Exactly.
There is more. In every corner, you probably find an American restaurant, a Mexican restaurant, but you probably find 1 out of 20 restaurants to be African.
Which is crazy.
There is probably more African restaurants in New York than there is in Cape Town.
So you would tell me more restaurants, probably more African restaurants in New York than here in Cape Town, which is absolutely crazy.
It's insane. And I was just speaking to a friend in Ghana, and because fonio is like a new superfood, and it's a grain which mainly grows in Ghana and West Africa. It's an ancient Egyptian grain.
Okay.
And well, it grew in North and West Africa. It's a new superfood, but it's not a staple in Ghana. Most people don't even know that you can.
Really?
But in America, it's like...
It's crazy. It's going crazy.
It's so hard to find it here. You will sweat. You have to buy it online, obviously.
Wow.
It's impossible to find it. But it's an African grain.
But so by making steps, I think, by educating, is your aim to bring back these things, these ingredients, to bring them back to the continent and to bring them back in the kitchen of the people?
Yes, to bring them back into the kitchen, to tell people that it's okay. This is not backwards foods. This is not, because as we are calling them backwards, somebody else is trending.
Yes.
Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
This is healthy for you. This is the way our ancestors lived, and it has been good for them. And also, food is very political.
That's true.
It's very political. It's something which has been used to oppress, but it can also be used to liberate people. And I'm choosing the latter.
Yeah.
And
you're choosing freedom.
yes, for people, for them to realize that they have food around them. I always tell a story of how when we arrived in South Africa, we lived in a place called Nelspruit. It's in Mpumalanga, another province, and there was amaranth growing everywhere, but nobody ate them. Some people didn't know it was food. But as a child in Rwanda, we ate amaranth almost every day. So we didn't understand
why nobody's touching it.
Eats it. So my siblings and I went to the bush
and just
picked the amaranth, and then people looking at us. It's like,
how does amaranth look like?
So some look like purple and they can even grow tall. Some look green and they have seeds. So they look different.
Okay.
Yeah. They must Google.
Yeah. Everyone must Google. Okay, so we have an image right here.
Yes.
Put it on smoothie bowls.
Yes, you can have them.
Can I see the image?
Yes, yeah, amaranth.
Yes, those are the seeds, but
okay.
we actually grew up eating the leaves.
Oh, yeah.
Even in Rwanda, we didn't know that you can eat the seeds. So whenever we harvested them, we used to cut off
the seeds and just eating
threw them away. Then one day I was in a health store. I was like, amaranth. And Amarat says, I'm like,
What?
Then I bought and I started playing around with it, and I'm making risotto with it, I'm popping them. I'm like, how come nobody told us that you can eat this? And so, going back to the story, people are like, are you guys okay? Like, why are you
Eating this.
Like, because nobody eats it. It's wild things. And then it hit me that the problem with Africa is not food security, it's food knowledge. That people can go to bed hungry while having food in their backyard.
But just because they don't know.
They don't know. Like, growing up, I was telling one of the guys who was sitting here, he asked me, so what is the juice that you're having? I'm like, it's hibiscus.
Yeah.
Growing up in Rwanda, we were surrounded by hibiscus. But to us, hibiscus was flowers.
Really? Wow. So we are surrounded by one of the most amazing juice that can exist.
Exactly.
Like beating lemonade by 10 times.
If I tell somebody that we are drinking hibiscus, they'll be like, are you okay? Meanwhile, in the health stores here, hibiscus is the most expensive thing you can get.
That's crazy.
But we had so much of it. But we just trampled it on our heads, and we're like, as kids, we play with it, we put it in our hair. Like that was the function for it, but it was never food. So for me, once we educate people what food is, what food surrounds them, we give them the freedom to eat. And that's really what I want to do, to really show people that you are surrounded by food. Food is everywhere.
Just go and grab it.
Yes, food is not mealie meal pap and chicken.
That's right.
Then if you ask an African, it's like, what is an African food? They're like, oh, pap and chicken. Like, do you realize that maize came to Africa? Was it in 1950s or 1850s?
I couldn't tell you, but I know it's really, really late.
It was really late.
And we have, for me, if you ask me an African dish, I would come from Cameroon. I would go directly for manioc, for a root-based dish.
If you come here to South Africa, maize.
Yeah, maize and chicken.
Maize. I'm like,
and even chicken, which is, of course, since there's in few century, but even chicken have been brought to Africa.
How did we get here?
Yeah, that's really interesting.
And I feel like when we don't tell our stories, when we don't go back to see how our ancestors lived, what we are told lies, and we believe them. And then we end up living unfulfilled lives because we don't know who we are, because food actually gives us an identity.
Yeah, it helps us a lot to define who we are.
Who we are.
Definitely. And is this something when you do cooking class, is this something you try to transmit? But also, additional question to it, do you have a lot of Black African participants in your cooking class?
Not really.
It's something I would feel about, and I say that because when I look at the community that I'm happy around me to support me on Outstanding Vegan, a really low percentage are Black.
Yes, same here.
And that's the thing, we're in Africa.
Yeah, Sunday we had a very full space, but you could count Black Africans.
Yeah.
We actually had a lot of foreigners, people from like Brazil, you know, like
Yeah, from England, from
yes, yeah.
arrived from
So
France.
it's still a battle of transformation, and I'm hoping by them seeing other people embracing,
Having interest for it.
yes, because we like to see other people, what other people are embracing, then
Yes.
follow suit.
Definitely.
So we ate pizza because we wanted to be like Italians. You know, we ate burgers because we wanted to be like
Like Americans.
So if Americans come and eat our food, we will come back to it.
To it.
So I'm not worried that so far
It will happen.
it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
I know as long as other people are embracing it, it will come.
It'll come. Everything in time.
Yes.
Definitely. and so your business is really new, and you're doing a lot of things, and you're super busy, and it's hard to have you, which I'm really grateful for. And so doing all of this is being created by, so we were on it earlier, and I just we skip it. You were started with an incubator here. It's a food incubator.
Yeah.
We even recording here, which is amazing because there's so many vegan stands. But about your story.
So one day when I decided to start the business, I saw an advert that they're looking for food entrepreneurs who have great ideas. And we went through like a process of selection and so on. Out of so many people, they picked 8 people to start with.
So your company is young, and it started, or at least this year, you were in an incubator. So how did that happen?
So when I decided to go full in as a business, not a side hustle, it's always important to look for support system, and found that Waterfront had, together with Job Fund, it's a government initiative to help entrepreneurs create jobs and so on. They were helping South African food entrepreneurs. And I was like, you know what, let me apply. I applied, went through the selection. It was a long process. We even had to come and prepare food to be judged and, you know, all those things. So I was one of the 8 people that was selected to be part of the incubator, which they, at the end, end up with space, kitchen to work in.
Amazing.
And just really, it helps. We had intense classes as well on food businesses.
How to run a food businesses.
Food business. And it was intense, like from costing to marketing. Like I remember half of the time I'm like, okay, I can't do this.
It's too much.
It's hard to be in a classroom while you're running a business.
Yeah, you have to sit and just learn.
But I was like, I will see it through because I had a calling. Like I have to see it through, and so it helped a lot. It helped a lot in developing my business further because I have like a place where I can host cooking classes.
Yeah.
You know, and without a charge.
Which is amazing.
Which is amazing.
It's like, it's a real kickstart.
It is a kickstart, like in a way that you can't even imagine. And I feel like everything just aligned the timing was perfect.
Okay.
And but also I must say, when I came into the scene, I had amazing community of vegans.
Yeah.
Like people like Capetown Vegan Craft, for example, who just post my stuff all over, you know, like getting views like, you must taste Jane's cheesecake, you must, you know, like.
Yes.
It was a boost.
And you felt supported. I mean, this is something I really find cool here in Cape Town, really like, this is why I'm staying for veganery, is this community feeling that I haven't got so far being in another city, and I'm gonna keep traveling, so maybe I'll find somewhere else. But there's really this community feeling of just like, we're together, we're opening ourselves. I mean, it's like vegan is for everyone.
Did you see when you walk into that veganery lounge, everyone knew each other?
Yes.
Because we meet to all these events. You know, we support each other's events, and I think it's amazing. And that's what will grow the movement.
Yeah, and this is a kickstart too.
Yeah, this is a kickstart because I may have heard the kitchen, I may have heard all those things, but if nobody knows me,
If no one come to the table,
if nobody comes, then nobody will ever taste my food.
that's true. And how does it feel today to be 1 year in the business, to looking back of the year? I mean, it's just the break right now for you, I know. Okay.
I'm just saying, I hope I will not fall asleep here. I'm usually very vibey.
I know, this is why, when we met, I was like, wow, she have an insane energy. We absolutely have to talk.
Extremely very vibey. Like,
I mean, you still are.
people must not judge me by this.
No one will.
I'm exhausted, but I must say, it's been worth it.
Yeah. Beautiful experience.
It's been the most amazing experience I've heard in a very long time.
Wow.
I wake up feeling like I'm doing something worth doing. Like I'm making a difference.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I totally understand you. Every morning is a good morning.
It's
I mean, it can be hard, but it's still.
Listen, it's not easy. Like
Yeah.
a roller coaster. Like there are times when I'll put an ad there that we're having a feast and like will people come? You know?
Bit of stress.
Yes, but people come. Some book at the last minute, but they come, and so. I don't know how it's like holding your heart like this all the time, hoping that you won't
Fall.
drop it, step and then drop it down.
Yeah.
I think that's what this business has been for me. It's sleepless nights because I want everything to be perfect because I want the problem with being a pioneer is that got to represent.
Yeah. You're in the first line.
Yes.
People look at you.
Yes, so what you put out
Have to be the best.
sets the tone. So you have to just sleep late, wake up early, and do.
Do it, absolutely. And how do you see now looking forward in the future? Will you still part of that incubator, or are you gonna like?
I'm still here. It's been a year. I'm not sure yet how it will be in terms of, because they also take more new people and so on.
Of course.
I don't know how it will be, but I'm still definitely here. But there is so much things which it's happening. I mean, I'm looking forward to my book coming out.
When the book will come out?
I'm hoping by June.
By June, okay. I mean, by the moment it's out, I'll make sure to share it with everyone.
Please.
I mean, here on YouTube, Instagram, the podcast.
Make it go viral.
It's amazing, and honestly, it's example. It's a book I would be so happy to offer to my dad, because my dad is really culturally connected with food. And when I come with veganism, like when I try something, because I love to discover food of the world, stuff like this, like I made, I think, one video where I was making a Cameroonian dish, and it's the video, like, he was like, yeah, it's super great. You know, he liked the other one, but he was just like, that is super interesting, you explored that stuff too.
Yes.
And he warned me, pay attention, you're not an expert, Cameroonian food, have been like really work on and like pay attention, but just like interested by it.
And so my book has got like, the recipes start like after 4 chapters because I'm setting a tone, because it's a different type of cooking. I'm telling people this may be strange to you, but please try it. You may not find it in normal grocery store, but there's a lot of ethnic stores. Go out there, explore, like literally setting up, spending 3 pages or so, 3 chapters setting a tone.
Saying to people, you have to do it. Yeah.
While any other book, you will just get into it.
Yeah, you just open and you have the recipe. That's really interesting. So looking forward on your book, any other stuff that you would like to share?
So it's to really encourage people to step out of their comfort zone. They must come and join our cooking classes.
Yes.
Come and taste our food during our feast, because we have got the feast like twice a month. Our cooking classes once a month, and then we have also markets and so on. It's not easy to try something for the first time, but I've never met people who actually come here and go home unsatisfied.
That's beautiful. Isn't that the aim? I mean, that's amazing.
That's the
That's
aim.
really amazing.
And I feel we need to do a lot of that. Just stepping out, realizing that there is more to food. There is so much more. There's so much more that grows. There is.
Just open your interest.
Yes, open your interest. Explore.
Especially nowadays with internet, I mean, and this is something I might get roasted for that, but I don't really mind, is something that really stressed me at the moment with social media is when we have recipe, there is this notion of trend, and you see one recipe be made 10,000 times.
Everyone is making it.
I'm just like, it's cool, but after 3 video, I'm just like, I saw it. If I want to try it, like, I would. Exactly. It's you haven't changed it. I don't blame people for not changing, and I hope on trend myself. I jump on trend.
You would give them one thing.
Exactly. But I want to encourage people also to be like, this is why, even though it's we're recording now in the Christmas period, I haven't posted any.
That's why my page is not growing, because I don't follow trends.
Yes. And I think there's this imbalance, but even if you say, okay, I want to do something Christmas, you can also go and try to explore in your own taste, there's a lot more to food, as you say, than...
Exactly. There's so much more to food. And there is so much more at being a vegan as well, more than a smoothie bowl and a wrap, those.
Yeah.
Yes, there's so much more.
That's true. There's family food, there is friend food,
Yes, we shouldn't, I know that certain things which really looks good on Instagram, I get it, but how many people actually eat like that every day?
That's for Courtney. He will be really happy. It's the editor. He's based in the UK.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he'll be happy. I think about the clap all the time. As we have different mics to synchronize the things. And the end of the sentence was...
You basically finished your last sentence.
Okay, oh wow. Amazing.
Sorry.
Oh, it's fine. Sorry. Patton, just the mic is in your... the sleeve was in the mic, but it's all fine.
Sorry. Oh, sorry.
I tried to make it quick.
Can you use some of my water?
Please.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Don't need to choke.
You can just keep
I don't know what.
Yes.
What's funny?
Talking at the same time, we're talking a lot, especially that this episode. I don't know how we're gonna come out for the sound, you that are listening, just the audio version, and also for you that are watching. It's hot in Cape Town. It's the summer. So the camera is having some trouble making a lot of breaks, which lead a lot of time for us, Jane, to talk together. But this is dangerous because this is how you arrived at not giving. Yeah, my mic is to not giving 50% of the information to the audience. It's just because we
that you actually have given it, but I actually
exactly
spoke to you.
we just spoke together, but it's totally fine. But talking about the people that listen, the aim is really here to have food entrepreneurs, chefs, but also the two combined, listening to us. And if you were to give them one or two advices for someone who's like listening to that, what would be that advice?
Especially I'm going back to the trend thing. I feel like when we get stuck into what is trending, we actually step out of creativity. So we need to find our own creativity when it comes. Food is an art. And the more we explore ingredients around us, we can actually create recipes using African ingredients that will make the world notice African ingredients. And that way, commercial markets will have no choice but to
sell them, to make them available. Absolutely.
Yeah, and for me, that is really important because the longer we don't use these ingredients, the more distinct they're becoming.
Yeah.
And we will lose so much. So I would really urge a lot of chefs to start using these ingredients in different forms. Let's really be creative.
You can try, it can taste bad. Like, if you try in your kitchen, no one will ever know.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
I know few chefs who are doing amazing things with African ingredients, and this is not only me who is, maybe I'm the only vegan, but I know a lot of other chefs who are going back to the roots, finding out the vegan, all these
ingredients,
grains and seeds, and making. There's a guy who makes ice cream using millets and sorghum and all those things. And so Africa has by now developed a lot of chefs. So instead of continuing going to the West, imitate, you cannot make better French cuisine than a French.
Yes, I understand.
So let's perfect our own.
Let's make African cuisine as big as the French cuisine, and
or any other.
And this is what is really interesting, is that African cuisine for me have too less of a name of itself. When Asian cuisine has really a name, French cuisine have really of a name. African cuisine, when it's actually such a big continent with so much diversity. You're from Rwanda. It's so far from South Africa.
Yes.
And from Rwanda to South Africa, if you go across all the countries you meet, you get so much different foods. And it's true that there is something here that should be put on scene.
Exactly. And funny enough, we've got even more unique ingredients than most other parts of the world have. Like we talked earlier, Africa is the food basket of the world. Like anything which can grows here.
Yeah.
So which means we've got things, the climate allows it, which means we've got things that Europeans can only dream of. But they're just seated there.
So go out there, go try it.
Go try
Don't intoxicate yourself, but go make your research.
Well, exactly. So please, let's do that. And let's give the world. I feel like we are too much of consumers, but it's about time that we contribute something into the culinary world and just give them Africa.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Jane. I'm so happy to having you here and to give the opportunity to everyone to just listen to your story. It was such a pleasure. And I mean, on a personal level, we'll stay in touch as I'm here in Cape Town enjoying the time. But thank you. Thank you for you that are listening, also watching this video for this new episode of The Outstanding Vegan. We see you next week for a new episode. And until then, go try some food.
Yes.
Go try to make some good food. Forget the trend for a week.
Yeah.
And until next week, don't follow any trend and just
Don't follow any trend.
make
Just make amazing African food.